Hello from Nottingham for the Outlaw, one of the best supported long-distance triathlons in the country. Over 1,200 people will take on this triathlon, either competing for titles or just hoping to get their hands on a medal in the 17-hour time limit. Let's take a look at the challenge that lies in wait and meet some of the athletes taking it on. Here's your commentator, Patrick Winterton.
It seems the greater the challenge, the greater the appeal. A fantastic turnout again for the Outlaw. The distances, as I'm sure you know, the swim at 2.4 miles, that will take some over the hour. There may be one or two who go under 50 minutes. And then it's followed by the bike ride, 112 miles on the roads. Even splits essential if you want a good performance overall. And then the hardest bit of all, the marathon. It may be flat, but it's still incredibly hard. In the men's field, we've got 3 previous winners racing. The record holder is Joel Jameson. In the women's, Alison Wilson has the fastest time of 9:45. But the other end of the result sheet, all they need to do is beat that 17-hour barrier to become an outlaw. Well, it's a beautiful setting and no wind whatsoever to disturb the surface of the water. The pre-race preparations extensive with 3 different sports, the swim, the bike, the run. But it's the bike that gets most of the attention pre-race. A lot of athletes only do this once. Some do a few.
All the gear, no idea, but I did Bolton last year, which is a lot hillier. So I'm looking forward to doing a flatter course.
You know, the course is supposed to be good for someone like me who's coming back from a 2-year gap. Looking forward to it. I just can't wait to get into the water.
Pretty nervous, first one, but trying to convince myself it's just a swim, cycle and then a run.
But only one man here is trying to do 7 iron distance races in 7 days, and this is number 7 for the actor, art teacher, athlete and dreamer Matt Turnbull. His training started in August 2016 and he's on the verge of success.
I know what I can do. I know probably more than anyone exactly what it feels like to swim at a certain pace and get out fresh, and bike at a certain pace and finish within time, and then run. I wouldn't say with a smile on my face because it's been absolute agony. The impact injuries that I've got have just consumed me.
Just how close do you think you are to your breaking point?
I'm in bits, but I've got here to just enjoy it, just see it through.
And someone else who's defied the odds is Jill Fullen. From karate to rat racing to multi-sport, it looked as though breast cancer was going to stop her run of success. But she's back in action, having finished her chemotherapy in December last year.
I started out in 2009 actually, just with sprints, just to get a bit fit. And then my club was celebrating its 25th anniversary and they wanted 25 people to do an Ironman. So I was one of the mugs that signed up. Having done one, I hated it and never wanted to do another one again, and promptly entered my next one, obviously. Which led to getting through to Kona a couple of times, so it's pretty addictive.
And it's a pretty incredible story as well. Craig Twigg, 2-time winner here, and he won the Holcombe Half this year, but he knows there's plenty of competition in the field.
There's obviously last year's winner, Kit Walker, who's racing. He's stepped up a bit this year. There's a lad called Matt Lehman, who's a very good swimmer. He won a race a couple of weeks ago. It all depends how well he's recovered from that. Guys like Tom Vickery, who's a great runner, will be vying for the win as well.
Tom Vickery certainly is a good runner. He did the Cambridge Half Marathon in 1:11:58, and he's done a half iron distance half marathon in 1:15. So he is certainly a threat if he's in contention at T2.
Where's that Twiggy? It's Ironman, it's a long day, it can go wrong. I think if I get off the bike within 20 minutes of Craig Twigg, I'll be happy with that.
Another man Tom needs to keep his eye on is Kit Walker, last year's champion in just under 9 hours. He's been targeting this race.
Your previous success here, has that put pressure on you?
Yeah, I think a little bit, maybe more from with myself than from an outside source, but I think I definitely am keen to repeat what happened last year. This is the kind of A race for the first half of my season, so the kind of first half of the year is all built up to this.
Well, that's ominous news for those who are hoping to win, because Kit Walker, an excellent athlete, but we should have a good competition.
3, 2, 1. Well, that's it. Everyone's in the water and they're ready to go. Time for the Outlaw Triathlon to get underway.
Well, it's an awesome sight. Over 1,000 athletes in the water. The white caps belonging to those doing the full iron distance race as an individual. The orange caps belonging to the relay teams, and there are plenty of class athletes in the relays as well. Well, the playboat's having a little bit of a problem staying ahead of the best swimmers. 1, 2, 3, 4 may go under the 50-minute mark. That's quite a target. The time allowed for the swim, 2 hours 20. Well, hopefully there won't be too many down at that end. Well, a steady pace in the early stages, 2.4 miles, remember, the Regatta Lake here at Home Pierpoint, the perfect place for this sort of an event. And the presence of some quality relay swimmers gives some of the individuals an opportunity to hitch a ride. One or two early morning walkers. The race getting underway at 6 a.m. and most of the athletes have been up since 3 a.m. to get everything prepared. Here are our two leaders, and no surprise to see Lehman there in the white cap. Now he's on the tail of one of the relays. I think that's Team BGS Old Boys, evidently with a class swimmer. Chris Wilkinson in second place in the individual, just ahead of Craig Twigg, who we should be able to ID with the colourful suit. There he is, and not far behind Craig is Kit Walker, so all the favourites right up the front of the field at the moment.
Every race I've done this year, everyone's going, oh, you're going to go for the win. I'm like, well, I doubt it. Training's not been great, but when I've gone into the race, I've just felt really good. My biking's been really strong in the racing. So, yeah, I don't know really. I guess the extra rest I've had this year has really helped me.
Well, rest is something that a lot of athletes don't get enough of. Hectic schedules, lots of racing. Matt Lehman, he looks pretty fresh at the moment, still tucking in.
Well, I'm pretty confident I'll be first out of the water, you know, if not pretty close, and I'm just going to get stuck into it. You know, I'm not going to hang around, give them a chance to catch up. If I can put them under pressure and make them panic, I will. So yeah, just get stuck in on the bike and get away.
Well, I don't think there's any question that Lehman is going to be the first out of the water in terms of the individuals. The question is, how much of a lead will he have over the likes of Chris Wilkinson and Craig Twigg and of course Kit Walker, who's lying in fourth place at the moment. Lehman has had the perfect start. He's going to be well under that 50-minute mark. He's capable of 45 minutes, but he's not quite going to match that. We'll get an unofficial time for the swim in a couple of moments. But it's the man in the white cap who leads the individual here at the Outlaw. The first of 3 phases complete. He goes through T1, which will take a couple of minutes. Valuable time can be won and lost, but he's going to be on his own on the bike initially. Craig Twigg just ahead of Kit Walker, those two big competitors in the race today. And Kit Walker, I think, will be happy with the swim. The two previous champions just a couple of metres apart. Now this is the leading relay team, BGS Old Boys. It's not Bury, Beverley or Bristol Grammar School, but Bradford Grammar School, and the school that was attended by the Brownlee brothers. 26-year-old Matt Lehman making his way down past all the bikes. He's got 100 metres or so to go before he reaches his, which is at the far end. It's bright red, so he shouldn't have too many problems picking it out. A product of Loughborough University, and certainly a man who can think in terms of finishing in the top 3 today. A quick transition for Lehman, and thanks to a record-breaking swim, the time coming in at 46.38, he has at least 3 minutes advantage over Wilkinson, Twigg, and of course, Kit Walker. How long can he hold on to that lead? 112 miles to go on the bike. And here is the chaser, the defending champion, Kit Walker, looking very light on his feet, looking hungry as well. As he said, he's focused all his early season efforts towards this race. Craig Twigg, colourful as ever, and looking for win number 3. What a battle we're going to have. Another relay athlete being overtaken by Kit Walker. Remember the colours of the bike, we're going to see a lot of him on this ride. And Twigg knows this ride better than most. Now, in both his victories here at Outlaw, he has had at least 12 minutes lead going into T2. Does he need that to win? Well, I'm not sure he does. He's a pretty handy runner, but he would certainly like 10 minutes over Kit Walker. Matt Lehman had some good results here last year, 7th in the half, and then he finished 4th in the Outlaw in a time of 9:31. I suspect if he wants to win, he's got to go under 9 hours. Kit Walker, good start from him, already up to 41.9 kilometres an hour. Keep an eye on the wattage, the power output. He should be averaging somewhere around 300 certainly for the first half of the race. Mads Bang Jansen from Denmark, and I say from Denmark, he now lives in Spain with his girlfriend, so he's had some great conditions for training. Now here's Kerry Hickson, she's leading the women's race. She got a swim time of 55 minutes, and it looks as though she's going to have a couple of minutes in hand at the start of the bike ride as well. Tom Vickery and Joe Carrott, second place in the women's, out of the water in 58.52. So Carrott with a little bit of work to do on the bike. I don't think there'll be any panic at this stage. And of course the other big contender in the women's race, Jill Fullen. Swimming certainly not her strongest point. 109, that's Kirsty Hillier. And just heading into the transition now. Jill Fullen just slightly lost, but she's got the bike down in 10th place after the swim. That's not a problem. This is pretty much a comeback to long distance triathlon for Jill Fullen. Her last chemotherapy session in December 2016. It is astonishing that she's here at all, but already looking competitive. Now, where's Tom Jones? He's number 374. He's on his stag do, 16 mates, being kept out of the pub and made to do the Outlaw.
You look like you put everything into that swim.
Yeah, loving it.
He may not be smiling at the end of this.
Good swim.
Yeah.
Busy in there.
Yeah.
But good. No, not at all cold. No.
Good.
No, all good.
So a positive start, and here is someone else who's pretty positive, Kimberly Mangleshot. Now, she's done this event before. I can't remember a time, but I do remember that she didn't stop smiling from start to finish. What a spirit. Still a long, long way to go, but she's got a huge number of supporters.
What I have realised is that not having my Sunday lunch in T2 might actually make me a bit faster, and at T1 probably not eating a hard-boiled egg when I've never eaten a hard-boiled egg before will actually improve my time. You do silly things, you learn that you're not supposed to do these silly things, but you still do the silly things.
How was it in there?
It was amazing.
You're getting some fuel in already.
Yeah.
Hot cross bun, very nice, I'm jealous.
I've got a PB, 122.
Oh, well done, congratulations.
I can't believe I swam at the front. I went in bay 3, but I swam at the front. I'm getting brave.
Good luck.
Well, what a fantastic approach. Now just needs to settle into the bike ride. It's going to be a long day out there on the roads. Get those clips in, and away she goes. And here comes Hasib Ahmad, who has completed the swim in 1:12. Now, he's the world record holder for the iron distance for visually impaired. And, of course, working with guides all the way through.
I have trained with the guides that I'm using. I talk them through it. There's always an element of learning. I have fallen, I have been bumped into things. It's all part of the learning process. Fortunately, I've come out of it relatively unscathed, but the people that I use are very competent. They understand my needs. It's all about trust. I've developed some very strong bonds and relationships and friendships as well, which is a real bonus.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on today away on the tandem. They should be able to pick up some good speed as they go around this course, the Outlaw course. Here's Kit Walker lying in second to Matt Lehman at the moment, just going ahead of the leading relay team, the BGS Old Boys, and that will have given Walker a little bit of a boost, but he knows there are some strong riders behind him. Craig Twigg certainly is a danger, but what a boost for Walker. He can now see the race leader, Matt Lehman, just 100 metres ahead. Craig Twigg looking for victory number 3 in the Outlaw. Kit Walker looking for back-to-back wins.
Welcome back to the Outlaw Triathlon. It's pretty peaceful here at Nottingham's National Water Sports Centre, but out on the bike course, there's a real battle taking place in the men's elite race. Let's join your commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Well, it's still Matt Lehman who is leading the way. Remember, he had a 3-minute lead coming out of T1, but the big boys are starting to reel him in, and it's Kit Walker, the defending champion, who's leading the charge behind, still pushing away at 334 watts. So he's upped his game to try and close that gap on Lehman, and this is going to be an impressive and decisive overtake. Walker, who's got a very nice position on the bike. As you'll see, going with the full disc, it's a hard ride, and these sort of corners just that little bit harder to negotiate. He's round safely, still averaging around 300 watts power. I guess if you take a professional time trial, it's between 320, 450, somewhere in that region. Wiggins famously up at 456 for a 55-minute period. We're not going to see anything like that here today. So Walker ahead of Lehman, and Lehman's, after a conservative start, I think it's fair to say, just settling into his pace. There's the first of the relay teams, BGS Old Boys, who are going along very nicely at the moment. And Craig Twigg just behind this group, and here he comes. As I mentioned earlier, Twigg used to coming into T2 with a healthy lead, and certainly on both occasions that he's won this race, he's been over 12 minutes clear. Joe Carrott now in second place in the women's, and looks very comfortable, relaxed on the bike. Just needs to make sure she doesn't lose too much time.
Short right turn here.
And here is Kerry Hickson, who was the first out of the water, still leading in the women's. Jill Fullen, who you can see is now in 5th. She came out of the water in 10th place, so she is the athlete making places. We've yet to confirm whether she's running that much quicker than Hickson and Carrott up front. Craig Twigg, Kit Walker. Well, you can see the difference in the power output. Craig Twigg really pushing the pace at the moment, trying to close down on Kit Walker. Certainly wants to put some pressure on Walker, and who knows, can he break him before the end of the ride? Matt Lehman is about to be overtaken, and the cadence for Twigg between 82, 87, somewhere in that region. Crucially though, it's Craig Twigg that is travelling just that little bit faster, and the gap closing accordingly. What's going to be interesting is whether Craig Twigg puts in another burst and extends away from Kit Walker, or whether Kit Walker will up the work rate as well in the slipstream now, so expect to see Walker's speed pick up. He'll have to drop back to that 12-metre line. At this sort of speed, still a little bit of an advantage to be behind. And I don't think Walker's going to let Craig Twigg go that easily. Matt Lehman still sitting there comfortably in third, racing a sensible race at the moment. Very impressive swim. Remember, he got the record time in the water, as we see Martin Chaik from Hungary originally, and Syke now living and training in Havering. Very strong runner indeed.
I'm feeling confident-ish. I really want to do it well. I want a top position overall, but yeah, it's over 10 years of triathlon under my belt, so I should be confident.
And that win he got in Wimbledon, 70.3 the distance. He did that in 4:49. So if he can keep that sort of pace, he could be very, very competitive. Here's Mads Bang Jensen from Denmark. He's good on the bike as well. 5th place at the moment, but he's about to go past Chaik without too much trouble. Looks very relaxed on the bike as well. His girlfriend getting a job down in Spain. That's essentially why he moved down there. And pretty much all his time put over to training.
Using the first 30k or so, finding my rhythm and getting a bit to eat, and yeah, build it steady from there. I feel very confident. It's I've seen the guys and I've seen the times from before the last few years, but yeah, I should be up there.
Well, he's got his race plan and nothing's gone wrong for him so far. Same for Craig Twigg, although Twigg, I think, just dropping off the pace a little. Looked as though he was going to go past Kit Walker, but he settled for second position as we have a look at Matt Lehman. And Matt Lehman getting his own back on Craig Twigg. Now, I think it's general consensus that in a race of this length, with a marathon to follow, you want the first half of the bike to be roughly the same speed as the second. You do not want to burn all your bridges on that first 60 miles. Well, Matt Lehman is either pushing very hard or Craig Twigg is suffering, one or the other. Matt Lehman in second place now.
It's double the half, but actually it's more than that. You really need to think about, you know, how the marathon's going to feel, staying concentrating on the bike and make sure you don't lose focus. You're out there for a long old time, so you want to make sure you're constantly pushing. That's quite mentally demanding, but I think I'm ready for that now.
Kit Walker up out of the saddle, and this is one of the biggest climbs on the course. And this is 473, that's Johnny Griffiths, who's one of the stag party that we saw in T1. And here's the stag himself, Tom Jones. Now, he's doing all right, 109 in the water. He's on 5.5 hour pace at the moment.
How you feeling? So far, so good. I can taste the beer already, pretty much.
Maybe a little premature to think of the celebration, still that marathon to come at the end of the bike ride. And that is the section that does all the amateurs, all those who are doing this for fun. It's the run that does the damage. Kimberly, still smiling and turning a pretty good cadence at the moment. Is another PB on the cards.
14 hours and 31 minutes etched in permanence on a lovely TV programme, and I was delighted. I smiled every step, stroke and pedal of the way, and I hope to do the same again. As long as I get through safely, I don't have any mechanicals on the bike. That's my biggest fear. And then I'm just going to get out in the marathon and smile.
Well, she was quicker in the water than she was previously, and she's averaging about 30 kilometres an hour, which will give her a time of around 6 hours, so she's going well. Hasib Ahmad, can he match that time that he set in Barcelona of 11:03? He's been targeting this race for a while.
I've always fancied it. I have to say, many of my friends. The guide that I have had in Barcelona, his wife who coaches me did this a couple of years ago. I've come and supported people here, and the support is fantastic. It's a brilliant course, and I've really just fancied coming here on the back of doing the world record and supporting a local event and hopefully getting a lot of support from it.
Jill Fullen, well, she's not cycling with a high cadence, but she's certainly closing down on Kerry Hickson, who is still the race leader, having produced a really impressive swim time of 55 minutes. But her lead dwindling away with the efforts coming in from Jo Carrott and, of course, Fullen, who's sitting in third at the moment. Carrott not hugely confident on the corners, but not having much problem hauling in Hickson. So the lead in the women's race changing, and now it is Jo Carrott who moves ahead. Jill Fullen certainly closing on Carrott, so we're going to have a fascinating situation in the women's. Be great if they all came into T2 together. Where would you put your money if that was the case? Well, I think Fullen is the stronger runner, but don't forget she's still coming back from serious rehab. And the situation in the men's is just as exciting. Craig Twigg in second place. He's got Lehman, Syke, Jensen just behind him. But up front, it's the defending champion, Kit Walker, looking for a second successive victory. Welcome back to the Outlaw, and we're with the men's race leader, Kit Walker, who has looked very solid throughout. Didn't take him long to take the lead on the bike ahead of Matt Lehman, who was first out of the water. And he's approaching Carl Colston now. 166 kilometres completed, another 14 to go on the bike. And then the small matter of a marathon still to come. So he needs to save the legs. Now, Craig Twigg in second place, Matt Lehman in third. We've got Martin Scheik in 4, and Marcus McDonald's moved up into 5th place. He's having a good race today. Kit Walker keeping the power on. He's pretty much averaged 290 watts throughout this race. Speed dropping a little as he works his way through the village. The support throughout the Outlaw, fantastic, just as it was for the Holcombe Half. Weather not quite as hot. Over 1,000 competitors here today. Will 1,000 finish? We'll have to wait and see. It's a big ask of a body that does not do that much training. And it doesn't matter how much you spend on the bike. If you haven't done the training, you're going to suffer. Jill Fullen. Well, this is a fantastic ride. She's now got the lead ahead of Carrott and Hickson. Hickson was leading, remember, out of the water, so she's suffered in the last 10 miles or so. Fullen looking comfortable. Remember, she's still got her trump card to come, the run, and she showed us how good that was in the Outlaw Half Nottingham.
I did have a good race. I felt good. Whether that translates to double the distance is another question, and there's some serious ladies here, so hey, I'll do what I can. I'm looking forward to getting off the bike, hoping for no mechanicals. And the minute you get off the bike and you're relying on your own legs, then I'm happier.
She's small in stature, but she must have a massive heart and lungs to drive herself along, but perhaps it's mentally where she's a step ahead of everyone else. Well, the race leader in the men's just coming into T2, Kit Walker. Have a look at the way he moves. Bearing in mind he's just done 180 kilometres on the bike. Well, he looks remarkably smooth. Similar scenes to last year when he won the title here. And at the moment, he is on schedule to beat his time from last year, and he might even match Joel Jameson's 8:47, which is the course record. One of the relay teams coming in. Now, Kit Walker just settling in, the pace building as he works his way out of the transition. He'll be looking for a pace of around 4:15 per kilometre. That will give him a 3-hour marathon. And I think with the lead that he's built on the bike ride, that may be enough to secure his second win here in the Outlaw. But it's the second half, or in particular the last 10 kilometres of the run, that really hurt. And there he is, bang on 4:15. Craig Twigg up and down a little on the bike ride, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the run. He has work to do to catch last year's champion and to make it 3 wins of the Outlaw. He's a local man, he's got massive support. And just looking across the other side of the regatta lake, I don't know whether he got a little glimpse of Kit Walker. It's a nice flat course and already taking on board fluids. That will get more and more important as time goes on. Overheating is the #1 problem, and water is one way to help the situation, slowing down is another, but he doesn't want to do that. Matt Lehman coming into T2 in 3rd position. Remember, he was first into T1. Craig Twigg now leaving. His pulse rate down at 87, jumping around a little, 1:27 for Martin Scheik. And he's a very quick runner. I think we'll see him push a decent pace. Twigg settling pretty much at the same pace as the race leader. He'll need to improve on that. Pulse rate coming back up at 158, his maximum around 175, 180. And he certainly doesn't want to be over 90% of his maximum heart rate if he wants to maintain a decent pace all the way round. Well, have a look at this. Scheik has certainly laid his cards on the table. 4:02, he's 22 minutes down on Kit Walker. And remember, it's only a 42-kilometre race, so he's got to gain 30 seconds per kilometre on Kit Walker. And even at the pace of 4 minutes per K, he's not going to do that. But he might get Kit Walker worried. First lady, it's Jill Fullen. Astonishing. The Outlaw half is hers for 2017. Is she going to add the full iron distance race as well? Well, it's her best discipline coming. She's a very solid runner, can certainly get in under 3 hours 30, and that might just be enough. And I guess a positive aspect for Fullen is that she's got quite a few men ahead of her. Not that many, but a few that she can chase down. So psychologically, she's in a good position. Jo Carrott, 2nd place, and she's just done 5:25 on the bike, 15 minutes slower than Jill Fullen, but she did take 7 minutes out of Fullen in the water, so they're 7.5, 8 minutes apart as they start the marathon. That is certainly a target that Carrott can go for, but she's going to have to hope that Fullen cannot keep this pace going. At the moment, she's running at around 3:20, and that should be enough. And now they start to enter T2 thick and fast. One of the great things about the endurance events is that you're certainly not pushing so hard you can't talk, and all those on the stag do will have had a little bit of banter on the way round. Well, this is a familiar feature of the Outlaw event, maybe the only event this side of the equator where this goes on. Well, I think the ice creams will have to wait for the athletes. Hasib Ahmad certainly not interested at this stage. On schedule to beat his time of 11:09 in Barcelona. Just difficult to relax, especially working their way out of the transition area. So many personal challenges. So many people who've changed their lifestyles to ensure that they've got a good crack at finishing. Kimberly, well, she's done it before, so she knows exactly what is required, and she's still on schedule to beat her PB.
And I think I got a PB on the bike. I know I smashed my swim. I'm so happy. And now just a little marathon, but it's great. People on the course are amazing. Marshals are brilliant. I don't want it to end, but I also do want it to end. And so, 1 mile in, 25 to go. See you on the other side.
Mixed feelings, and I think at this point it's worth pointing out that although the athletes reap the glory on race day, this is very much a team effort. So many families make so many sacrifices. Martin Scheik, now he set off at the first part of the run at 4-minute kilometres, so he was looking for a time of around 2:48, but he's dropped off that pace at the moment. Kit Walker has slowed significantly, now at 4:36, but he's still got a hefty lead. 22 minutes advantage over Scheik coming out of T1, and Craig Twigg is no longer in the race, we're hearing. Craig Twigg in a little bit of trouble, his pulse rate all over the place, and he has decided to call it a day. I suspect his body temperature going up, and he's experienced enough to know when it is not going to be his day. Kit Walker doing everything he can to keep the temperature down. Jill Fullen looks cool as you like. Fantastic performance from her. She's so solid on the run. Very, very light on her feet. When we see the slow-mos, you can see how much impact the body takes. Some say you age 20 years when you do an Ironman. Of course, when you're recovered, that's reversed. There's Tom Jones in the red cap on his stag do. His friends will be hoping he doesn't get married again. This is the toughest part of all triathlons, but particularly the iron distance ones. The technique, the coordination, the thought processes all suffer. But some people seem immune. Kit Walker certainly hasn't been immune to the punishment that he's put his body through today, but he's closing in on the finish line, and he can see glory for the second year in succession. He just has to keep moving. He has to keep running.
Welcome back to the Outlaw Triathlon. We are at the finish line now, and it won't be long until our winners come running down this chute. But who will take the 2017 titles? Let's pick up the action in the final stages.
Here is Jill Fullen, who is on her way, it seems, to victory here in the Outlaw. She's got just over 5 kilometres to go. Another outstanding performance from her for the over 50-year-old who's been dominating age group triathlon for some years now. Well, there'll be a lot of people happy to see her take the victory. She has 15 minutes to play with over Joe Carrott. There's a good battle between Carrott and Louise Harris has come into the picture as well. Kerry Hickson's still there. In the men's race, Martin Scheik, who was the quickest runner over the first half marathon, still keeping a good pace. He slowed a little, but he's moving to second. Matt Lehman in third place. Craig Twigg, remember, has pulled out of this one. A real shame. The two-time winner looked as though he was in a bit of trouble on the bike, and then certainly had problems with the heart rate on the run. Nothing he could do about the dominance of Kit Walker. 2 years, 2 victories. This man who has geared the first half of his season for a good performance here, he's done just that. and he wanted to beat Jameson's record of 8:47. Have a look at the clock as he comes across the line. He has smashed it. 8:39.37.
Absolutely unreal. Just, I don't know, don't know where it came from. Just felt so good on the bike, and the run, it was a steady fade in speed. You know, the last 10K was hellish as ever, but yeah, I knew I was on pace and I knew I just had to keep pushing, so smashed the course record, which is exactly what I came to do.
And he only started in 2011. He's been good at all distances, but it seems that the iron distance is the one for him. Here comes our second place runner from Hungary originally. It's 24-year-old Marton Scheik. Havering Tri Club will be very, very happy with this performance. A 55-minute swim, 4:52 on the bike, and a 3-hour, 1-minute marathon to finish it off. And he adds this second place to his win in Wimbledon.
I started off really fast on the first half marathon because I knew that I have 22 minutes behind Kit, and I just really wanted to still give a chance to win, but you've seen Kit Walker was just amazing today. Very well done for him. It was a really tough race.
It certainly was. And here comes Matt Lehman, 4th last year. He's gone one better this year.
Oh, it's a tough day, tough day. I was really suffering on the bike about 80 miles in. There were so many times I could have given up, so I'm happy I pushed it all day, and I'm very happy to go under the 9-hour barrier. That's what I wanted, so job done.
Well, there you see the top 8 in the men's. Kit Walker on top of the world with 8:39.17, his official time in the end. Marton Scheik second, Lehman third, Marcus McDonald, we didn't see much of him, but he took 4th place. But maybe this is the performance of the day. Jill Fullen is back, and she's back in winning ways. Astonishing performance from her.
Support I had from people, I mean, left, right and centre, I'm just blown away by the amount of support, and it's just, thank you so much to everybody who shouted at me. It makes it sort of all worthwhile.
And here comes Jo Carrott, originally born in Glasgow, lives in Taunton now, races for Somerset Tri. She takes 2nd place.
I'm pleased with that, and it's a good time as well. Jill flew by me on the bike at a pace I couldn't believe. I think she put about 10 minutes, well, must have been 15 minutes on the bike into me. Very impressive. Yeah, I had a good day, you know.
And a fantastic marathon from Louise Harris puts her up into 3rd.
It was always my dream in the last couple of Outlaws that I did, and I used to see the top 5 women and think, wow, they're out of this world. So to be in those top 5 women now is just phenomenal.
And top of the lot is Jill Fullen, 9:44.46, 50 seconds inside Alison Wilson's record from last year. Carrott second, Harris third, and Kerry Hickson first out of the water, but has to settle for 4th today. Well, astonishing efforts all round. The relays, of course, making their mark. There are the BGS Old Boys from Bradford Grammar School, the same school where the Brownlees went. 3 blokes from Lymm take the win though, and the BGS Old Boys down in 3rd, 26.53, having been first out of the water with a brilliant swim. Well, there are still plenty of athletes out on the course. Remember, the cut-off time is 17 hours. The stag party all look as though they're going to get comfortably inside that marker. Some of them more comfortable than others.
Whose idea was this? What, the stag do triathlon thing? I've no idea, but when I find him, I'm going to hurt him.
I'm not sure he's going to have any energy left for that sort of aggression. Well, to produce a sprint at the end of all this takes something special. And we're waiting for the arrival of Eugene Grant, who is one of only 6 men to have done all 8 editions of the Outlaw, and of course he won it back in 2013.
So I was hoping to get within a couple of minutes of 9:40, and I've managed to do that pretty well actually. So I'm over the moon. Yeah, it's a great day again.
Gary Gocher, another man who's done all the Outlaws, and he gets free entry for next year as a bonus.
Best one yet. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh my God, it was an amazing day.
It's absolutely awesome.
It's been incredible, support's been amazing.
I came today just trying to, the aim was to finish, but I've just done so much better than I thought I would.
You pleased with that time?
Yeah.
And I think Hasib Ahmad will be happy with his time. He's 19 minutes quicker than he was in Barcelona.
When I come out to places like this and I get guys like Kieran and Andrew and Pete on the swim coming out to help me out, and then all the friends and family and everyone else kind of just, you know, really cheering us on. It's really humbling. It's just very special.
And by the looks of it, just a little bit emotional as well. The stag, not a bad effort from Tom Jones. Not sure his mate's going to thank him too much for the experience, but they'll have a day out that they won't forget in a hurry. Here comes Kimberly, still smiling, can you believe it? And she smashed her PB as well.
I thought 2014 was the best day, but today was amazing. It tops it. It really, really did top it.
And the performance from Matt Turnbull is going to top everyone. 7 days, 7 iron distance races. He's trained an average of 22 hours a week since August last year. And he has finally achieved his goal.
I could have picked any to finish with. This is the one I wanted to finish with through my past experience, and what an amazing. We're going to go, I'm shattered, but I'm going back over here to see the people in. We're going to dance a little bit if I can move. But yeah, top event, guys, thank you.
Raising money for Tiny Lives. He wants to get to 10K. Fabulous effort from him. And on and on and on they come across the line, all squeezing in inside that 17-hour marker. Heather Clark from Wakefield, the last to finish in 16:42. A memorable day in Nottingham. 2.4 miles in the water, 112 on the bike, and then 26.2 running to finish it off. The body may not thank them for it, but mentally they're stronger, they're happier, and they have more purpose. There'll be 1 or 2 partners who are happy to get their Outlaws back in the house. We'll be back next year with Outlaw 2018.